Foxborough official says, don't you dare come without a ticket. Who can claim to be Soccer Town, USA? And will there be a ticket price crash for World Cup tickets? That and more on Friday's edition of Morning Kicker. Hello and welcome to the show. This is Morning Kicker, on the show that dots the map of the ever-changing American soccer landscape. My name, Robert Kerr, local soccer guy, and to my side, my partner in this endeavor, radio soccer guy, Jason Davis.
Never had my name said like that before in my life. Would I become French or something? What happened, Rob?
You feel special? I wanted to give you a little Friday flair for you. Hopefully everyone's feeling just fine. 2 weeks until the biggest World Cup ever. Jason, do you have excitement in your loins?
I have excitement in places. I'm not sure loins is where I would go with my excitement levels. My wife is coming back from a business trip, so that could cause that kind of excitement. But I am
already.
I am mostly don't do that. I am a little bit trepidatious, Rob, to be honest with you. And it's like a good trepidatious. It's like I'm not one of those people who like jumps out of airplanes or does the bungee thing off the bridge. That would never be me. But I imagine that the feeling that you have right before you jump off the bridge or out of the airplane is the feeling I'm having right now, which is I really want to do this. This is going to be super great and exciting. Oh my God, I am so scared of what's about to happen, right? And I just mean
the looming work ahead, nervous but excited.
It's work, but it's good work, right? Like I am grateful that my job means I'm going to be watching a ton of soccer over the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. I mean, we got the friendlies coming up for the United States, and then we go straight into the World Cup. I'm working the friendly this Sunday on the radio. My radio boss has sent me a schedule that basically has 4 days off in a month. So I may be, very, very busy. Obviously, we've got kick around, and I want to be here as much as I can. So, I mean, it's coming. It's looming. The shadow it's like when the aliens come down to Earth and they have the giant ships and everything starts to get dark because they're blocking out the sun. That's what it feels like.
That's a great analogy. We are in the shadow of the looming World Cup ahead. And it's a great segue talking about how busy you're going to be working this World Cup, because we are unlocking a new MK Ultra feature. So for $3.99 a month, you can become an MK Ultra, which gets you all sorts of perks, including on-screen commenting during live shows, bonus content, which we will if we hit a goal, which we'll talk about in a second. But on Wednesday, we are going to be selecting names for the Morning Kickaround World Cup contributors. So on the Morning Kickaround Discord, we put up a poll yesterday if you would like to have your say and help kind of make this more fun and interactive. It's a huge World Cup, the biggest has ever been, and there's 12 teams of 4. So literally impossible, I think, to watch every single game. So if you put your name in the hat, we will select on Wednesday. We will have the contributor lottery, and you will be assigned a group. And then so after your group's match days to the group phase, at the very least, you guys can submit or join the show to have your 2 cents and throw a little bit of flair from the Ultras and a little bit of coverage to the show to help us not only cover the show, but make it a little bit more interactive, a little bit more fun. I know there's a little bit of disillusionment and maybe don't know how to tackle it outside of just watching the USA games.
I feel like, if you want to give us your perspective on the World Cup and maybe be deputized to be part of the show for the World Cup period, absolutely. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to jump in and be our extra eyes and soccer brains on the World Cup that is coming up. That it's going to, again, with that giant shadow. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing on a lot of levels. That a 48-team World Cup is coming to North America, and we're going to have so much soccer over the course of a month that we might explode. But we're going to need your help.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, for example, Group A, they play their games over probably 2 days. And then you can either submit something that we can read and present, or you can even pop on, depending how how shy or gregarious you might be feeling. But yeah, something to throw your hat in the ring. So just another perk to becoming an MK Ultra. And here on today's show, we've got some bonus content that we'd like to get to. But did we set a goal for memberships or gifts on the show to hit a Friday bonus?
Memberships. It's memberships in any form. If we can get to 10 new members today, which I think is a strong goal, we haven't really been pushing and campaigning for new members, but we need to do that. We need to grow the MK Ultra community. If we can get to 10, Rob and I will do some members only content. You're going to see little clips today on the show. We got to get in pretty quickly here because I know we got a good guest on the show today. But we're going to watch some clips. If you want us to watch you want to be with us and watch the entire thing, you're going to have to become a member because we'll go members only at the end of the show to watch those. Because the way YouTube works, if we put them in here, then we get limited on what we can do with this video. So if you want to support the show, that's the way to do it. Become a member, become an MK Ultra, join the community, get yourself involved in the Discord, which is incredible. Lots of people repping for Morning Kick Around across the country at various soccer events, which I love to see. So yeah, that's the best way to do it. Members only at the end of the show.
Yeah, the Morning Discord's been great with people showing off their kits, the Morning Kick Around kits that they've been wearing. And then there's been MK Ultras meeting up at the TST. So lots of great stuff. So memberships today to get into the bonus at the end of the show, and then also hit up throw your name in the ring to be selected to cover a group with us at for the Morning Kick Around, a correspondent lottery, we're gonna call it, for next Wednesday.
We got the lottery. It's a lottery. I thought we were
gonna pick at random. Yeah, so there's a pool of people. Hopefully there's a pool of them.
I don't know why we wouldn't just let people choose the groups they want to cover, but if that's the way it works,
okay. Then... Well, I imagine. Okay, so I had that idea because I imagine like most everyone's just gonna be like, I'll cover the United States group. And
well,
like, who's going to cover the group with Uzbekistan?
All right. Then maybe what we do instead of a lottery for the groups is we do a lottery for draft order, and then you can draft the group you want. How about we do it that way?
That sounds fair enough. Fair enough indeed. So the show ahead, we got some good stuff.
I don't want somebody to get assigned a group and go, I give a shit about that group. Why on earth am I going to watch any of these games? I want it to be, okay, I'm choosing this group actively, and our ultras can say, I want to watch this group. I'm choosing this group. I hope that that's a better way to encourage their coverage.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Good idea. Good idea. I'm glad we worked through that here on the show. But on today's episode, we have Travel Football Fan at the top of the show. We're going to talk about some soccer stadium development, but get your memberships on the way to join us for a bonus show. So let's kick off Friday's edition of Morning Kick Around. Let's go. Hey, welcome on in. My name's Robert. He's Jason. In a news clip that just kind of hung with me. It's Friday. I'm feeling loose and it's fun. But I found a gentleman who is probably not very fun at a party, and he definitely doesn't want people to come party outside Gillette Stadium without a ticket. A gentleman called Jim Nolan, the CEO of Kraft Sports and Entertainment, had some very choice and direct words about anyone coming to visit in and around Gillette Stadium for the World Cup.
Okay, we're going to play this clip. What's his name again? I'm sorry, Jim?
Jim Nolan, CEO of Kraft Sports and Entertainment.
Jim Nolan. Okay, he's the CEO of Kraft Sports Entertainment, as in Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Revolution, the New England Patriots, obviously a massive part of soccer in New England. This clip is going to come to you from WJAR, Southern New England News, an NBC station. But here, let's go for Jim. Here we go, Jim.
I'd like to talk a minute about who should come to Gillette on a game day. The people who should come to Gillette on a game day are people who have a ticket to the event. So if you don't have a ticket, don't come to Gillette. There's going to be a multi-layered review process for everyone who comes on site. Your ticket's going to be...
I'm excited for the World Cup at Gillette Stadium, Rob. Aren't you excited for the World Cup at Gillette Stadium?
Yeah, he is just like, he's welcoming the world here.
Checked 3 times. Your ticket's going to be checked when you pull into a parking lot. Your ticket's going to be checked outside our secure perimeter. And at that point, your ticket's going to be scanned. If that ticket is valid, you'll be able to pass through security. And then your ticket will be scanned again when you actually enter the stadium. With a full stadium event, we're specifically telling people, don't come if you don't have a ticket. Celebrate in your community. Go to the Fan Fest in Boston. There are many, many ways to celebrate. We just strongly urge people not to come here.
That's a great way to finish it out. We strongly urge people not to come here. Now, look,
before we break that down, he's a wet blanket, but I want to celebrate Mr. Bob, who's the opposite, supplying MK Ultra memberships right here. So thank you, Bob. On the way to that goal to create a bonus at the end of the show.
Yes.
But wet blanket alert there.
5 more, don't have to be gifts, 5 more members, and we get there. So join up. Get that members only stream at the end of the show. If we don't get there, we can't do the stream. But I kind of like our guy, Jim Nolan.
If you don't make memberships, do not come for the bonus. Don't come.
Look, man, it just kind of encapsulates everything about this World Cup, doesn't it? Like, I understand Jim's concern is security at Gillette Stadium, but the tone of it, the way that he is presenting that, I'm going to say this. He's the CEO of Kraft Sports Entertainment, Jim, and I don't know what he's like in a boardroom, and I don't know about his CEO skills. Maybe Jim is an incredible CEO. Jim could be the best CEO in the game. I have no idea. But I'll tell you what Jim should not be doing. He should not be talking into a microphone on camera about the World Cup and the ticket process. I mean, maybe for them it's no skin off their nose. Maybe it doesn't matter, right? Because it's Kraft. Kraft had to step up. Right. Remember, I imagine this is partly down to the fact that the Kraft Group had to step up and help the town of Foxborough pay those security costs when we went through that whole nonsense.
That's what I was going to say. He's pissed about paying for security.
I'm sure the Kraft Group is like, why do we got to foot the bill when this is a FIFA show? We're not making any money off of this. Yeah, it's the rising tide lifts all boats in terms of soccer, and the Kraft Group has all that interest in soccer, and they obviously want to have people in New England like the Revolution and like what Kraft is doing. They want to build a stadium in Everett, like they want to do all these things. But my God, Jim, my God, man.
Yeah, that hung with me. When I saw that, I was like, I mean, I understand the sentiment behind the boardroom, but you think maybe make a bubblier statement or something, like talk about like the reasons for doing that. And like, we want to ensure like the safest, best opportunity for those who have tickets and blah, blah, blah.
Maybe he thinks he has to do this just to drive home the point that we really cannot have unticketed people in the area because of the security issues. And again, Gillette, I think there's like a big complex of shops and things, but it's like, this is not Boston, right? This is Foxborough, Massachusetts. It's a town. It's a village. It's not a big city. But here's how you do this, Jim. You ready? I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm going to give you a pointer, Jim. This is going to be an incredible World Cup. There's going to be opportunities to watch this tournament in your community across the region. There's going to be watch parties in Boston. There will be restaurants. There'll be places to watch this. I hope everybody goes out and watches these games in a community event and has a great time. We welcome everybody who has a ticket to Foxborough and to Gillette. And if you have a ticket, great, come on by and watch these games, and it's going to be great. And all those people who don't have tickets, those community events where you're going to be watching the games are going to be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot friendlier way to do it. John, one of our ultras in New England, saying that they have no interest in soccer, only see it as an investment. He says that as a season ticket holder for 22 years. But I was just going to say, I mean, Foxborough, Gillette Stadium, they have NFL games there, obviously. And that crowd is the same. Do they tell NFL people, NFL fans, to stay home if you don't have a ticket?
No,
I'm sure,
but the difference,
without being sure there's people that
Rob,
are outside.
No. The difference is that this is a FIFA thing. This is FIFA. This is FIFA security concerns. Remember that in a normal NFL event, say at whatever they call that stadium in Pittsburgh now, or any of these stadiums that are in cities or in towns, right? Like, you have game day, people come up, there's people outside selling stuff, people scalping tickets, which is bad. There's bars and restaurants around, and people are within the area of the stadium. FIFA requires the host cities to lock down their stadiums like a mile perimeter around the stadium, and you can't enter that perimeter without a ticket. You're not, that's what he means. You're going to be checked with your parking. You're going to be checked. You're going to have 3 checks. The reason there are 3 checks is because FIFA requires it. This has nothing to do with like how Kraft or Gillette or anybody else feels about it. This is them responding to what FIFA has demanded. And again, they're footing the bill to pay for all of this.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But old Jim, love to see him at a party. Never. But let's move right along. Let's talk about stadiums up next here on Morning Kick Around. Soccer under construction here on Morning Kick Around. We're going to take another peek at the developing story that is Sacramento Republic FC's new stadium, per the Sacramento Bee out there, which we've referenced a few times now here on the show. They're talking about the sales for new luxury suites are coming online. And they speculate in this article, does that mean they have big league aspirations beyond lower tier soccer with the high-level luxury amenities that are being offered here?
Yeah, this is the Sacramento Bee, the paper of record in Sacramento, with quotes from Tim Holt, who's the Republic FC president and general manager, and he's saying, this venue is built for bringing soccer at the highest levels to Sacramento and to this building. And he says, on the club side, that's Republic FC. He mentions major other events, sporting events, soccer events. And then, of course, there is that question. Okay, is this just a USL Premier plan or is this something else? We still don't know the status of the Vancouver Whitecaps, although Vegas seems to be in line for that potential relocation, which is a very sad thing. But Sacramento could be out there as a possibility for a future MLS franchise. Now, here's what we're talking about. This is the look of the suite as published by Sacramento Republic for this stadium, the Rail Yard Stadium, which is not even under construction. I think they're preparing the site. I mean, under construction. Maybe it technically is, but we're very far away from it being open. And look, when I see this, I've been in stadiums with these suites. This is a pretty high level experience. I think it's a ridiculous way to watch a soccer game, generally speaking. But in the modern world, this is what you do. You put in suites, right? And I don't know, Rob. Do you think this, looking at this, and I'm sure there are going to be suites in the DCFC stadium as well. Will they look like this? Will they be at the same level as Sacramento Republic? And what does that mean about their aspirations? Like, should we draw those conclusions?
It's all really good questions to ask. I mean, obviously, this article speculates that they must be shooting higher up the totem pole. But we were in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, a couple weeks ago, as everyone knows that watches the show, and they had some pretty upscale spots in that stadium to watch it. And I'm sure DCFC is going to be adding those. And I feel like the lower tier stadiums are adding more amenities because you need to entertain sponsors and then give the higher ticket price thing, make that available to be able to offer something beyond the general admission and the just regular seats. So I think that these things are just getting baked.
This is for corporate dollars.
Yeah, exactly. And people to be able to expense things on the corporate card at a higher rate than just a regular Joe Schmo game match goer. And I think it's interesting that kind of skews, like, is this the opinion of this article, the interpretation that, like, no way would minor league soccer have anything upscale like that? Like, maybe they can't believe that that's something that could be true.
Well, okay.
It's like, I feel like it's the interpretation. It's like, yeah, I think new stadiums in general, higher or lower tier or not, they're going to bake this in regardless, I think.
Well, let's go back to the story, right? Because the story it's not just the Sacramento Bee speculating. It actually says that although Tim Holt said there's no news regarding the club's push for MLS, which hasn't actually opened expansion talks beyond 30 teams, but we expect MLS would do that. But work is being done behind the scenes to make Sacramento a viable candidate again. So, and then they talk about the city was actually awarded a team, but then COVID happened, Ron Burkle pulled out, et cetera, et cetera. So, I do think this is just, you're covering your bases. They upped the capacity of the stadium. They went bigger. Wilton Renteria, the new owners of the club, are clearly interested in going big. They have the money to do it. Why wouldn't you? Now, I do think it's interesting to conceive of a world in which Sacramento Republic has a stadium like that, and there are going to be other teams maybe in USL Premier who are playing in decidedly lesser venues. But that's how this works, right? That sort of range of stadiums is part of what the football world provides. Like, you look at England, there are teams that play in the second division of English football that have incredibly nice stadiums, and then there are some that are playing in things that are like 4 stands around a patch of grass. Like, it's, with 10,000 people. Bournemouth plays in a 10,000 capacity, 11,000 capacity stadium. They're going to have to upgrade when they play European football next year.
Yeah, and that's all part of what we love about the game, right? Is the broad variety of places and stadia that the game is played. Stick with us. We have a great guest at the top of the show, or at the top of the hour, rather, with Travel Football Fan. But let's get into the big question of the day. Next up here on Morning Kickaround. Big question here on Morning Kickaround. Who can claim the name Soccer Town, USA? We saw a report from a high school game down in Georgia where they proclaim themselves to be Soccer Town, USA. Portland, Oregon claims to be Soccer City, but Soccer Town, USA, who's got that name?
Yeah, I wonder how many places call themselves this. As you said, Portland calls themselves Soccer City, USA. Kansas City likes to call themselves Soccer something USA. Is it Soccer Town, USA? I mean, is this a moving thing? Because I'm seeing Felix say that Cary, North Carolina right now, because that's where TST is happening. TST does not hit with me. I apologize for that. Go enjoy it. I don't think of that as soccer the same way as, full field, 11 players, outdoor soccer. But, it is what it is. But as you said, we came across this story. I'm going to show you a screenshot. This is a screenshot from the video, the report there from Channel 9, ABC, I guess in Georgia. This town, Dalton, is about 35 minutes away from Chattanooga. So it's in Georgia across the border from Chattanooga. So I don't know exactly who's reporting, but I'm going to show you a clip as well of the report just to get a sense of what the community does to rally around its high school soccer team.
Just amazing to see and watch them celebrate.
Try that one more time.
Achieved what you set out to do. Last year it was a little.
We go back in this, and here you go.
Look at that shot. That's incredible.
And watch them celebrate
That's high school.
Yeah, that's high school soccer. Now, obviously, there's a lot of kids in there. Like, the school came out. The kids are supporting their classmates in the push for a state championship. And my understanding is that Dalton High School has 8 state championships in Georgia soccer. And, okay, Armando is getting ahead of the game here a little bit, Rob, because while we have Dalton, Georgia, that makes this claim, we also have this story of what was the name of that?
It's the high school. The high school state championship games in Omaha, Nebraska at Creighton Stadium had some similar population and viewership for their state championship. And that's a full stadium out in Omaha, Nebraska, too.
Yeah, so this is Creighton's Creighton Stadium. They had 7,500 people, according to this Instagram post, out to watch high school soccer in Omaha. Now, again, like, Soccer Town, USA is a big claim. It's a big claim, right? It is more than just, we've got a good high school team. Like, I think it's got to be more than that. right? And Dalton and I watched that whole video. And by the way, that's one of the things we can watch on the members only stream. So become an MK Ultra so you can watch that whole story with us, because there's some stuff in there that I really want to point out that we're not going to because we can only play a short clip. But they say, oh, somebody came up with Soccertown USA. We just started using it. It's like somebody came up with that. Like, now it's an original thought. I mean, it's an original thought for Dalton, maybe. But what gives Dalton the right, Rob? That's what we need to know. What is the criteria here?
Yeah, I'm curious if this can get
Soccertown USA?
contentious from town to town, because I'm here in the Detroit area, and for a very long time, Detroit claimed to be Hockey Town USA, and I know folks in Minnesota felt definitely aggrieved about that, and some other places can claim that. Soccer Town USA, I mean, obviously they have some skill and some prowess and some history and some success there in Dalton, Georgia. We're obviously seeing a lot of shouts for St. Louis, and I'm sure there's more than a couple people that say, was it Trenton, New Jersey? Where are all the players coming from in New Jersey?
No, it's Kearney, New Jersey, which was referenced by Guitariaga in the chat. Kearney is where Tab Ramos and John Harkes and Tony Miola are all from. So they're all from Kearney. They all grew up there playing soccer, and there's a deep history of the game in Kearney. In fact, I believe it's Kearney and Harrison. Is it Harrison? Maybe Guitariaga or somebody else knows this. That play like this massive high school rivalry match every year, and it's a huge deal. And they get thousands out to watch this. There are college programs that get 10,000 out. Maryland at one point was getting 10,000 out to watch the Terrapins play soccer. I think it's UC Santa Barbara that typically gets like 10,000 out to watch college soccer. You've got, look, I think in order to be Soccer Town USA, it can't be a city, right? You can't be what we think of as a major city. So like St. Louis is out as Soccer Town USA because it's too big to be Soccer Town USA. Like,
Portland claims the Soccer City moniker. Apparently Seattle, so some
I mean, people just say that because Seattle started a new thing in MLS on some level in 2009 when they entered the league and had 30,000 out to watch that team play. I will give them credit for that. Right. But I'm more interested. Forget the big cities with the MLS teams. Like, even actually, you know what? Let's eliminate anybody who has a professional soccer team of any kind. If you have a professional men's soccer team, you can't be Soccer Town USA. You're too big. Right. You've reached a level of, well, there's clearly a market here and we're selling tickets to people to watch professional soccer. I think the reason I like what Dalton is doing is because they're saying our soccer love is not based on a professional team. This is just about our high school program and how much we love coming out to support them. This is like high school football in Texas, right? Like I love seeing that kind of reaction to soccer anywhere in the country, because I'm jealous of football in Texas and the support it gets. Like, imagine if we were a country that instead of they're building 12,000 seat stadiums in Texas for high school football, we were building those same stadiums for high school soccer. How good would we be as a soccer country?
Yeah, I'm seeing some shouts for the Triangle in North Carolina being the soccer mecca, and I don't know if that blurs the lines there for Soccer Town USA, but is there a town in your state where you are across the country? We got the map here on Morning Kick Around.
I like Soccer Township. That's very good. I like that. Lots of places in this country have townships, so we could do that too. We can label a Soccer Township.
Yeah, soccer unincorporated municipality.
Throw an unincorporated area.
Yeah. Shout out your town if you have similar scenes to Dalton, Georgia, in your backyard in the region of the country that you are watching this from. Let us know. I don't want to be unaware of some hotbed at the high school level or otherwise that is just part of the culture or becoming part of the culture in your town. We would sure love to hear about that. So Soccer Town USA, is it Dalton, Georgia, or is it someplace near you? Remind you guys, we are, I think, 5 or 6 out of 10 to get to create a bonus show at the end of this regular live show. So if you are able to gift a membership or become a member, membership perks include on-screen commenting during the live shows, access to bonus content, and access to the Morning Kick Around Discord server, which has great conversations, which will come to the forefront more now than ever with the World Cup coming. And Mr. Bob, I mean, where would we be without you? The number one supporter of this show, Mr. Bob. Thank you so much. Hitting our goal. We crashed past the 10 out of the 11, courtesy of our man in New Mexico, Mr. Bob. So stay tuned at the end of the show to go into the bonus. But right now, we have our guest waiting in the wings. We're going to talk World Cup and tickets here on Morning Kick Around. Welcome on in. This is Hot Topic here on Friday, May 29th. And our next segment is a World Cup topic. So World Cup coverage is brought to you by Oakland County Football Club this year, celebrating 10 years of Bleeding Purple in Southeast Michigan. Tickets on sale now. Visit Oakland County FC online, or lots of great content on the Oakland County FC socials, and specifically Instagram. And a shout out 3-0 to start the season. But our guest, welcome on in, travel football fan. You've been awfully busy. Welcome on in, Danny. Thanks for joining us again.
Good morning. Yeah, I've been very busy taking care of my daughter, first of all, and then, everything else, chasing down my travel plans for the summer.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming, right? It's almost here. I know that everybody's excited. Imagine if you are traveling, you're extra excited. I imagine if you are in the content game, talking about the World Cup and the tickets and everything else, you're excited. A couple of things have happened. Lots of things have happened since we last talked to you, but a couple of things have happened very recently that are making news. One of them is New York and New Jersey getting together to investigate FIFA over misleading fans on ticket sales. I don't know how much you've been able to dig into this, but what do you make of this news? Because Jersey seems to be very intent on being a thorn in FIFA's side.
For absolutely everything. Listen, I think that this is not so much a case of too little too late, because all these things are going to take time. So we should not expect any sort of resolution to this story happening, in 2 weeks, much less in 6 weeks, maybe not even a year. Right. So for many people, it did seem like, oh my God, you're finally doing this. Like we've been saying this for the last 8 months. Of course, we've been talking about this for months, ever since phase one. About all this, but I do think it is significant that these are the states that have the most powerful legal resources, and they have done some big similar cases like this, right? I know some folks on my comments were saying they're gonna get FIFA on RICO charges. Like maybe I don't know exactly.
But New York did that, right?
Yeah.
No, but the DOJ did it, but New York was involved. That's not the state. So this is a state investigation.
Yeah,
so there is that. Yeah,
but
it's a little bit different.
But they do investigate everything related to Wall Street all the time. So this is significant enough, right? Now, of course, California did also announce, that they were also investigating violations of state law. I think, was it a week or two ago? So it is these states with leverage, both legal and, economic resources, to at least push this organization to turn over documents, which is what they asked for, right? They subpoenaed the FIFA to turn over documents. I think this is, at the end of the day, like I said, going to take time. I think this is a good positive step. But I think many of us would say, well, like, yeah, duh, like this has been happening. And I think the evidence is there to at least, push FIFA further. This is not the end of the story. This is just beginning.
Just the beginning of that journey, but the journey that we're riding is this roller coaster of ticket availability and ticket prices. So before we get into the surprise ticket availability and all that yesterday, and people having their pre-existing tickets moved around and all those shenanigans, I guess a big question is the ticket, the dynamic pricing drop coming? Is there a ticket price crash coming? Or I've seen some mixed reporting on that.
Yeah, it definitely is mixed, and it really depends on the game. I mean, there has been a overall drop in the secondary market FIFA has been very unwilling to drop their ticket prices on their site because it would basically represent a dilution of their product, right? If we think about it in that way, I mean, like you can't cheapen your supposed marquee product, the World Cup, 2 weeks before the tournament begins because you've put yourself in that position. But you have seen it. You have seen those social media reports. I think I saw Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia going down to $7. I didn't follow up on those tickets. But again, who's going to go to that game? I don't know. But it's this idea where, again, FIFA priced everything so high that it really puts them in the position where if they were to drop their prices on their own site, then people are going to see this as, oh, so you were always doing the money grab, right? Like Club World Cup. Like that's exactly what happened during Club World Cup. Or they're going to pretty much die by the sword, and we're going to enter these games with $400 tickets still available 5 minutes before kickoff. That's probably what's going to end up happening on their side. Yeah. On the secondary sites, you might see a more precipitous drop, which of course means the scalpers are going to be the ones losing potentially millions of dollars in this process.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tracked it day to day. I'm more worried about my retirement portfolio than I am about ticket prices for these games. But like we've had these stories about private equity getting involved in investing in tickets, right? As a way to sort of like bet on a commodity that's going to go up in price. And maybe they've already dumped out. Like maybe that's already a thing, but that's the kind of environment that we're living in, right?
Yeah, and that's why we need laws to restrict those types of activities, because this is basically becoming a rigged game in that respect, where the fan, is basically having to compete with AI bots, private equity, scalpers. Like you're basically climbing Mount Everest just to get a ticket. And then, of course, FIFA's own ticketing practices. They've announced a couple of days ago that they were withholding 50% of the knockout round tickets until the knockout round begins, because of wanting to see which teams make it. Which in some instances, yes, that does kind of make some sense, right? You want to hold tickets to those fan bases, but we don't trust their intentions. That's the problem with having done this entire ticket process the way they've been doing it for 8 months. We just don't trust that is what you're going to do. You're just withholding tickets to sell them at the highest possible price point.
Coming back to the kind of the lawsuit aspect of this, are they going to also attack or come in the crosshairs the people who bought tickets and thinking that they were at a certain I've seen people like, oh, I got premium tickets. Yeah. They went away off of the app and then they came back as different tickets. Like that's pretty outrageous. Are people reporting that to you, that's happening to them?
That is happening to people as well. Actually, I got to check my own tickets. See, I don't know how much worse they can put me out of Azteca at this point. But yeah, people have been reporting that. And so I'm sure that's all part. That's why I said, look, they might as well call me. They can look at my socials for the last 8 months and they could download all the videos of all of the different instances where FIFA has been acting very much in a very nefarious way. Their terms of it's almost like their terms and conditions is like their supposed shield. They're saying, yes, we can move your seats, yes, we can do all of these things, but sure, you can say you can do all these things, but is that legal? And I think that is why New Jersey and New York are launching this subpoena. And then I'm sure from there they're gonna see just all the different ways that FIFA rigged the game. I think one good thing that maybe fans should maybe see that this subpoena and this potential lawsuit could potentially work is the fact that Live Nation and Ticketmaster, I think, recently were found guilty of monopoly activity. So there is some legal precedent there that we might have some success with FIFA. But then, of course, you go cynical and say, well, Gianni, who's he friends with? Is that that is where all of this cynicism comes in hand.
To that point, I read today that the DOJ dropped charges against a South American media executive who was involved in the whole bribery scheme that everybody got wrapped up in 15 years ago, whatever that was. We had the raid on the hotel in Swiss. I think that was all tied to that. And now they were like, nah, we actually don't think bribery is a big deal. So we're just going to drop those charges. And that's where we're at with all of this. And I respect you, I respect you, Danny, because you do a lot of work trying to get people excited for something. You're looking forward to the tournament, even as you're also uncovering this ugliness. And I wonder where you're like I know you're excited for Colombia. That's very clear.
Yeah.
How many Colombia shirts do you own? Real quick.
5 of them, I think. At
5.
this point, I think
Okay.
maybe 5
So-
too many for my wife.
Well, no, sure, but this is a rotation, right? Like we're
Yes.
watching these jerseys because I don't expect you to be taking them off for about 6 weeks. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, this one, I think this is 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, okay, and you got the burp cloths to protect the integrity of the shirt, all of that stuff.
Yes.
You're excited for Colombia, right? You're excited for the tournament from that fan perspective.
Absolutely.
So has doing what you're doing, right? Having become somebody people are looking to for information, all of that, on all of this, and seeing some of the ugliness and the ticket nefarious stuff from FIFA, has it changed anything about how excited you are to watch Colombia?
I think those are almost two separate things, or maybe I have to keep it as two separate things in order to preserve, in some ways, my sanity. At the end of the day, cheering for Colombia is part of my cultural identity, and wanting to connect with that part of my culture and upbringing that I didn't get to connect to because I grew up here in the States. And so for that part, I'm super excited to go to Ciudad de Mexico with my wife and my daughter, to be in that environment, and then for Guadalajara, going to travel with my brother over there to go see the game. So just having those types of experiences, have not seen Colombia at a World Cup before. Those are going to be just lifetime memories that I'm going to forever cherish, irrespective of all this stuff that has been going on. I think it's a sense of duality. It's about having joy in life, and enjoying the things that you really connect with and bring happiness to you, while at the same time advocating for that happiness to be shared amongst other people too. The fact that I'm able to go to Mexico twice, right? Not stay in Mexico just because of all the logistics we have to deal with my daughter and wife's work, but be able to fly to Mexico twice, go to 2 different games, given the costs, I'm privileged in that respect, right? I know for many others, it is a mountain to go to just one game, and it could be, a game that they're going with a loved one, that they realize this might be the last World Cup that they might be around for, or they're going to go to a World Cup with their father for the first time. Like all these different emotional, heart pulls, right, and heartstrings, that I understand that. And so in many ways, that's why I still feel like I have to do this duality of like, I'm trying to help people get there. And many people still thanking me, hey, thank you for the information. I was able to get tickets. I'm so happy. But then they also understand, I know that there's also the ugliness that you have to cover, that you want to cover, because it is important to bring a sense of fairness in all this.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we're talking about kits, and you've got your full week's worth. But I'm actually starting to envision you maybe off in the future, suit and tie, testifying to Congress, going through your Instagram feed with all the nonsense that's been going on in the lead up to this. And I'm glad that you're going to be able to actually go and enjoy the actual part of the thing that we're all here about, because we all love the game, and this is the pinnacle of the thing that we all love here. And so I'm glad you're able to participate in that. But if you were to circle one thing as the biggest, I mean, there's a lot of things to pick from, but the biggest nefarious thing that's illegal, what would you circle?
Well, good thing I'm only 20 minutes away from Capitol Hill, right? I mean, I'm like literally that close. I think if there was one big thing, it would be the lack of the price transparency from the very beginning. Once we realized that FIFA was not going to publish that price chart that they have done for all previous men's and women's competitions, right? That I think was the beginning of the, oh boy, like this is going to be bad, because they're not being transparent. Once you give that, that
the veil was pierced.
Yes. At that point, you realize, oh no, they're not keeping to that bid book, not even close. They're going to do dynamic pricing. That was that moment. And so from there, that explains everything else that's happened since.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody had any real belief that Gianni Infantino was some magnanimous figure working for the benefit of the entire, like you always say that, right? Oh, well, that we make money here so we can give money to, the Canary Islands or whatever.
For the next 4 years is
not Canary Islands, but yeah, exactly. Right. Like that. And of course, hiding behind, Americans are used to this. And I was just looking at a story. There's a story out of Atlanta that said, the hotel industry there was thinking they were going to book all these rooms for the summer for the World Cup because of Atlanta being a host city. And this general manager said, we've only booked $13,000 worth of rooms or something for June. And what's happened because of the pricing is that I'm sure a lot fewer people from outside the country or outside in certainly the
outside the whole city. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. Exactly. Like who are you going to be like Americans would struggle to get to Atlanta to go see a game and pay for a room and pay for the tickets. But if you're coming from outside the country, and that's what makes the World Cup special.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing that we want is like, yes, it's happening here, but we're supposed to be welcoming the world. Like, I want the waves of orange-clad Dutch people doing bonkers stuff in the stands, and I don't know if we're going to get all that.
I think, and let's push the political policies and whatnot that have caused all of these problems aside for a minute and focus just strictly on the tourism sector. They are also at fault for their own downfall, and this is funny enough. This is the first video I pushed out in 2022 that put me to I guess to where I am now. Was, hey, folks, start saving money now because the travel is going to be expensive. I called this back on December 2022. I said the flights are going to be expensive, hotels, because everything was going to go up in price. Sure enough, it did. But then, of course, when you then couple that with very expensive World Cup tickets, it caused the fan, and even myself included, I went through this process of, hold on, I'm not going to book travel until I secure the ticket. And even then, my travel was going to look different. My initial plan was 16 cities, 16 games. That was my initial dream plan. Granted, the baby comes along. Fatherhood does put a pause on those things. But even then, the next plan, we're going to spend 10 days in Mexico in a row. That's not possible because of all other logistics. So now we had to keep downgrading, in some respects, the travel plan. And so when these hotels, for the longest time, are saying, you have to book 3-night minimums, $1,000 each, and they're not even a Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
Yes, the fans are going to be like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not going to put this much money for one game when I can go anywhere else around the world for a week, even 2 weeks for that same amount of money.
There's that I'm sure you've seen it. It was on Reddit. There's a billboard that said like, see Portugal play in the World Cup, $3,800. Go to Portugal, $800. Like,
it's just the value proposition is there. I know some other fellow soccer content creators are doing trips to other parts of the world to go watch the World Cup over there. So people are reimagining how to interact, with soccer in general.
That's a thing too. Like, I love a soccer game in person. I'm not going to pretend like that's not something I love, but I definitely think that there's this shift, and maybe it's forced upon us by FIFA and the powers that be, and ticket prices in general. Like, I know Mamdani was talking about not just soccer, but making sure that fans who want to go see the Knicks play in the finals aren't getting priced out of going to Madison Square Garden. Like, we're at this point where these sports entities are squeezing us so much. Now it becomes, well, I guess I'm just engaging with this through a television screen or through a stream, all right? And what I do think about this World Cup, and I'm glad that you get to go to Mexico and watch Colombia play, and I'm sure you're gonna have an incredible experience, but I'm sure a lot of the World Cup, you're gonna be doing what a lot of us are gonna be doing, which is like looking for the local event and going out to the watch party and finding the restaurant maybe that's showing the games for their whole heritage and their culture, because that's the vibe. Like, not everybody can go anyway, but especially in this World Cup, it's gonna be about those local events there on the scene.
And actually, I was talking to a content creator from Bangladesh that was, asking all these questions about like, but Americans are like this. And it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're not fully understanding American soccer culture. American soccer culture, in part, is the diasporas of around the world, but it's also everybody else that's here, that's American, that are going to be engaging with this World Cup through the bars, through the community events. That is where you're going to see American soccer culture in all of its flavors and colors and whatnot. Like, that is where you're going to see it. And that is in many ways how we're going to interact with this tournament. And I think that's going to be the way that folks are going to interact with future tournaments, not just with FIFA, but I mean, UEFA already saying that their tickets are going to be super cheap. That is a very excellent campaign plan on their end, because now you got fans thinking, wait a minute, I can go to Euros 28 in 2 years' time. What do I got to do to start saving money there? And that's basically what I was doing for this World Cup. I took a 4-year project to get me to 2 games of the World Cup. People are going to start thinking that way. And that's actually what I wanted people to do. Start thinking about how they can travel to all of these different games, whichever tournament they want to go to, and have that experience, but plan it in a way so in that way you have the most incredible experience of your life.
And we've talked about a lot of the difficulties and the trials and tribulations of getting here through this 4-year journey. To kind of go on a positive note, what has been your biggest takeaway or the tidbit of news that kind of has made you happy? I saw the group of the Scottish supporters have figured out a way to get a bunch of school buses together and kind of like basically gone outside of the normal gatekeepers of these things to find their own way to make it at least more affordable. Have you found any other, positive stories of people like making it their own?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see it more like once the World Cup starts. I'm sure once Colombia, hopefully they make it to the next round, you're going to see, the caravans, not just the Colombians, but the Argentinians, everybody else, supporting each other to travel to these different places. If we're going to be, even like more organizational specific, Philadelphia pushing back. I mean, shout out to Visit Philly in that respect for keeping the tailgating and pretty much providing the transit, very much affordable for fans. Not only Philly, I know some other cities have done that as well for fans, but I think the tailgating, the pushback that Philly did was so, honestly, I would see that as like the ray of light in all of this, because I think that's one part of American sports culture that I've also had to explain to other folks from around the world. Like, you guys don't understand. That is like so American, and all of us of the diasporas have embraced that part as part of our culture. We have the asado, the barbecue, any type of food you want to do outside the stadium, we'll do it. And the fact that Philly stood up and said, no, we're going to keep the damn tailgate. We're going to do this, FIFA, like whether you like it or not. I think that was the positivity that a lot of us needed at that moment, where we were just getting bad news after bad news after bad news. Hey, we can tailgate. Fantastic. It might not be as big as, at NFL games, but it's the fact that we can do it. I think that's going to be one of the key soccer cultural stories that we need to highlight this entire World Cup to the world,
Can I bring up one more thing? And this is again about the travel of people coming here from other places for the World Cup. I don't think it's going to happen, but the head of DHS is rattling a saber over moving international flights from big blue cities to red states. And look, I got a connection because my wife works for the federal government in that general area of the government. I don't think it's going to happen, but man, this is just another thing that's going to chill any potential. People are like, okay, maybe ticket prices go down. Hey, I can get to the US. And oh, wait, now I've obviously visas. Visas are a thing. I get it. But yeah, like I can't get in now where I have to, they're moving a flight from Atlanta wouldn't be on the list, but from Boston to Boston to where exactly are you moving that flight? I don't understand any of this.
I mean, look, I even addressed it. I was like, this is completely stupid. This is like not understanding global logistics, global, flight patterns. And I mean, again, the fact that American tourism, unfortunately, has dropped every single month ever since the new administration took charge, is the revealing stat in of itself. And the fact that FIFA didn't really put their eggs in the basket of hoping that tourists will come. They were always hoping that the American domestic market would pretty much bring them home for the World Cup in terms of ticket sales and whatnot. All of these factors help explain why America has been so adversarial towards, you would think, the money that this country could really use right now. That is billions of dollars we're missing out just because of the way we want to pretty much promote ourselves to the world. So look, with all of those stories in hand, I mean, we can add the Ebola situation, right? Which I jokingly was like telling folks, guys, you're more likely to get other diseases other than Ebola. Like, fortunately right now that situation is hopefully being contained in that country. And of course, prayers for DR Congo to, get through that situation. But it's just so many different things that it's almost become, just not numbing to report on, but more like, we know the troubles. You know the hurdles that we have to get through. Now it's we need to just be able to plan around those and make the best of it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do think you have to kind of make your peace with let's celebrate the game that belongs to us. And yes, FIFA's going to make a ton of money and run off and scurry back to Switzerland with buckets of cash.
And
know,
there'll be
and
a
yes,
time to address that.
yeah. Our current administration will have, basically squashed some of the joy out of the biggest sporting event that any of us will ever experience in our home country. But we have to look for ways to make this good for us, right? Like I don't want to wake up in 5 years and go, I wish I had done more to enjoy the World Cup when it was here.
Yeah, agreed. And that's why we all need to find the ways to celebrate this, right? If you can travel and have that privilege and get yourself a ticket, then go do it. Sure, find the cheapest ticket, find the cheapest way to travel around. I help with that. So if you need to reach out to me and like get some last minute ideas, because there are last minute possibilities. I mean, I was able to book my Guadalajara travel using my travel points. I wouldn't be able to do that probably a couple months ago. So now you have to use that desperation by the tourism industry to your advantage. If you can't do that, go to the community watch parties, enjoy the World Cup in that way, make new friends in that respect. We might not be able to connect with folks from around the world in this particular tournament, but maybe think about future tournaments. We got AFCON next year, right? In Kenya, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. Like they're playing in Rwanda, right? There are 4 different countries. I think they're hosting AFCON next year. In 2 years, the Euros. And even the regional tournaments. I mean, we got.
I was going to ask you about this. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, you talked about Euros, and obviously UEFA saying, "Hey, we're the anti-FIFA. We're going to make these tickets available at a reasonable price. Maybe come to the Euros instead, or come to the Euros because obviously not everybody has a country in Europe they want to support. So you'd be going as a neutral in my case. But CONMEBOL seems very intent on using the American market to their benefit. So
I know I don't want Copa America back here, though.
But it's going to be. But it's going to be because that's how they're going to get more money out of their tournament. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's not the case. I know Ecuador is putting the hat back in with Colombia apparently as a potential host, which would be the first time Colombia would be hosting since 2001, since we won it the last time. And it would be a perfect lineup, for us to win the tournament again. So, but even then, right, with these tournaments or even the regional club tournaments, right? Go travel to South America for Copa Libertadores or Sudamericana, even the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Go down to these other games that you typically wouldn't go and enjoy as a soccer fan and enjoy, right? Not just the soccer, but go enjoy the culture, go enjoy, everything related to that. And I think that's maybe when we start reclaiming some of that balance against, the powers to be. Maybe when they start realizing, they're not trying, there's not a lot of fans supporting these tournaments as much as they used to before. Maybe we could reclaim some of that balance back. We have to vote with our wallets at this point. Even though a lot of us are still supporting this World Cup, I mean, I'm guilty as charged. But I think as all of these trends, all of these different aspects of soccer as a business, they're going to be very sensitive to trends and to if they're not making the money this way and they're seeing people are spending their money in another ways, they're going to have to react to that.
All right, Danny, thank you so much for joining us once again here on Morning Kickaround. You've really kept us in the loop here on all this stuff leading into the World Cup. A 4-year project with just 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
If you're able, one word, how are you feeling 2 weeks out?
Excited, super excited. Oh my God. It's going to be a dream. I'm going to be crying buckets and my wife is going to be recording me again, crying at another soccer stadium.
Well, I can't wait to see that. And I can't wait to have you back on and see how your coverage plays out in this run up and then during the tournament itself. So ultras and viewers of this show, if you're not already following Danny, a travel football fan, do so now. Thank you so much for joining us once again, Dan.
Thanks, folks.
All right. Remind you guys once again that Morning Kickaround's World Cup coverage is brought to you by Oakland County Football Club, celebrating 10 years of summer soccer in Southeast Michigan. Bleed in purple here in Metro Detroit. Tickets on sale now, and check out the OCFC Instagram for lots of exciting content. Stick with us. We're going to be right back, wrap things up, and talk about bonus content here on Morning Kickaround. Welcome back in. End of the show here on Friday. We did hit our goal, so we're going to go into a bonus here in just a few minutes. want to reiterate to all of our new members that if you want to be a part of our World Cup coverage, throw your name in the hat to become a World Cup correspondent. And on Wednesday, we're going to do a draft of sorts to pick out the groups, and then you can contribute to the show after your group's match day and be part of the show and help us cover the biggest tournament of all time. And it's funny, we saw at the top of the show, so during that conversation with Danny just then, I was thinking about the different cities that have kind of pushed back on FIFA and everything that's going on. And remember the story that we were following for quite some time, the Foxborough City Council that refused to sign the thing to foot the bill for security on the hopes of having millions of dollars repaid to them. That guy, that wet blanket at the top of the show, Mr. Bill Neely, imagine how rotten that guy was to that city council during that whole process.
I thought it was Jim Nolan.
Jim Nolan, sorry. Jim, Bill, whatever. The wet blanket at the top of the show, whatever. The Kraft Entertainment CEO. That guy, I imagine he had a lot of like finger curl, come here after these city council meetings. I was just imagining the unpleasantness that man could project to that city council.
Sure. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's probably the case. By the way, I want to remind all the ultras, if you're not already dotted on our map, go ahead and throw your information into. You can do it on the YouTube if you want to leave a comment, maybe on this video, where you want your dot to be and what clubs you want to be attached to your name. But you can also do it in the Discord. We have a dot the map channel over there as well, so you can do it there.
Yeah, we only have one update. I don't know do we have time to do that today. We might want to just go straight into the bonus and accumulate some more dots before we delve into the map. Do you have that pulled up at all? No,
I do not have it pulled up. You said we weren't doing it today, Rob, so I'm not ready for that.
All right. So we'll omit that from your mind. Men in Black, memory stick that whole dot the map part out. But definitely to our new members, I think we had 11 gifted during the show, which qualified us for a bonus episode. So get on in there. And then you can also, there's a thread for introductions, which has been really great. People, when you get into the Discord server, if you'd like to, you can share your soccer story. We've learned that there's newcomers, brand new to the sport, and also folks who've been involved in the game for decades in the mix amongst our membership.
You know what we should maybe do? Maybe we should do at some point, and it could be members only, so jump in here. But if you have like questions you think are that people might think are stupid because they're basic, but you don't know, like American soccer is complicated. Like I'm never going to make anybody feel bad about not understanding something about American soccer. Sometimes it's even hard to describe it to somebody. Like, oh, okay, how does it work? Well, there's this league and that league and another league, and some teams play only in the summer, and those are amateur teams. But then there are these other teams that are amateur teams that have older players, and then there's also we have levels, but they don't move between those levels. But in other places, they have those. Do you know what I'm saying? Your brain.
Oh yeah. So pre-COVID, I was doing some marketing for Oakland County FC, and the preamble, when you're like cold calling somebody to explain what we are and what we do, you got to give them like a 5-minute rundown of what summer soccer is.
Maybe we encourage anybody who's it's called pre-professional. See, it's not amateur, it's pre-professional. See, I got it wrong. We can do not a soccer 101 because that's been taken by somebody else, but maybe we do sort of a remedial introduction. We do an introduction to American soccer, and I don't mean like how many players are on the team at any given or the names of the positions. None of that nonsense. That's extra basic. I'm talking about how does American soccer work? History of American soccer. Why do we have this messy situation that we have? I've been holding all that stuff. Yeah, a primer or a primer, however you want to pronounce that. People say it both ways.
I've never heard primer. That's a new one.
Yeah, I've never heard primer. People say primer. But we'll do maybe we can do one of those for the members, for the ultras. So become an ultra and we'll set one of those up and we'll do a special one-off kind of situation. And I know lots of ultras have their own particular areas of expertise. Chris Sau was one of those. We can pick his brain about some stuff, So anyway, go ahead.
All right. So what's our timer? Are we going to set a timer on going
1 minute as soon as you tell me we're ready to go? So you tell me we're ready to go, and we'll set it for 1 minute.
1 minute seems like enough of a primer to get us out of the show. So
That's not how you use that. That's not the right usage of that word. That's not how that goes. That's not how it goes. Sorry.
I guess
All
that's
right, anyway.
my primitive brain malfunctioning there as well. You didn't even get that joke, but yeah. So let's set a 1 minute timer, and we'll go with the bonus here. So we're starting it at 10:34 and a few seconds. So everyone that's tuned in now, please become an MK Ultra right now, so you can join us in the bonus shows, and you can get all of the various other perks that comes along with supporting the show. And we thank you for any way you support the show: a thumbs up, a like, a share, some word of mouth, or becoming an MK Ultra, sharing some dollar dues on Ko-Fi.com. Any of the things we are extremely grateful for.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we've got 20 seconds left. So I think we're almost ready to hit that close and start over again with our ultras.
All right, so our regular show concluding now. So we'll be back on Monday morning. So until next time, everybody, please enjoy your soccer. Welcome on in. I believe